30. That's not good. Holy cow, is it cold out here today. Guys, we're in Toronto, Canada. It's negative 16 degrees today. And hey, if you are like us and you have any print equipment in your shop, you're probably having a heck of a time trying to get it to print perfect prints. But I'm going to show you how we at Big Dogs mitigate this challenge. Let's get to it. All right, guys. So I'm here back inside the shop. It's pretty warm in here. I boosted up the actual heater, but as a result, when the heat rises, because dry air, the cold dry air doesn't absorb as much moisture. It can't hold as much moisture. So when the temperature heats back up inside again, the air is going to be really dry relatively. And right now, it's actually pretty low, lower than I'd like. It's 29. 29, that's not good. So ideally, when you're running, well, either electrostatic press, just like this Conoco Carrier, one of our favorite machines, or even a UV or foil finisher like this MGI jet varnish. Even though they're both different chemistries, one's ink-based, one's toner-based, they both love humidity. But first, a word from our sponsor.
You're a professional designer. Are you still using those sketchy font websites? That's not a real download link. Don't click on that.
Stop right there.
You're building your career on quicksand. Those shady looking font websites are legal traps and harmful to your computer. Even if you survive that malware, hiding behind a fake download button, you're stuck with work that looks generic. To stand out, you need Canada Type. No sketchy ads, no malware, just clean professional fonts, and the licensing is crystal clear. You pay once, and you're safe to use it for client work. No lawsuits, no headaches. The variety is insane. From psychedelic to Canadiana, these are distinct flavors. The best part? You can test drive every single font in the browser. Instant preview, no guessing. Look at these fonts. Their unique geometry breaks the standard grid. It's the difference between looking like a template and looking like a pro. Don't be a rookie. Go indie with Canada Type. Use the code BIGDOGS30 for 30% off.
Here it is, guys. I mean, it doesn't look fancy, and humidifiers, they're not uncommon to print shops. However, a lot of print finishing equipment, a lot of these equipment suppliers, they sell ultrasonic ones, and you have to be careful with ultrasonic if you're running it through tap water. Why? Well, look at this. In this case, right now I have the humidifiers here because that's where I can only fit it in the shop. It's right beside this liquid inkjet based finisher. This is the MTI jet varnish. And if you're using tap water with something like a ultrasonic type of humidifier, you know what you're doing? All that mist, you are actually spitting these white calcium magnesium particles in the air. And guess what? They're going to end up on the machine and they're going to be clogging their print heads. And that's not going to be fun. And it's not going to be cheap for you to fix. So if you are using tap water, careful with that. Use evaporative. What do these do? Well, there's a giant filter in here and it soaks up water from the reservoir. And then there's a fan and it's blasting air out constantly. Unlike the ultrasonic, it doesn't spit particles in the air. It just evaporates and all the heavy mineral content is going to sit in here and you will have to change the filters often, but at least it doesn't spit anything in the air. I used to use tap water and I used to go through a lot of filters, but then it got really expensive. So then what did we do? This is a water distiller. We're actually distilling water. Now, you can actually buy bottles of water, and this is what we used to do. But man, they're like $8, $9 a pop Canadian, and they can add up. I mean, we can go through this 2 of these a day. Do the math on that. I actually have 2 of them. I got this and another one over here. And they're both actually connected. So if you look, there's actually a drain, and I actually filled it into the reservoir. A water distiller will boil water through this chamber, And then there's these coils. I don't know if you can see it, but there's these coils that's winding. These coils take that evaporated steam caused by that boiling water and cools it down and condenses it. That's why it's called a condenser. It condenses it back into a liquid form. So it cools it down, and that liquid will just drop down here and it fills into this collector bin. Now, normally you can just use the collector bin and fill up your own bottles, but I drilled in a hole here, and like the other one, is tied in to here, and it fills these two bottles. Then what happens next? If you hear this, see this? It's shaking. So every so often, I have this pump here, and this pump takes all this collected distilled water, and it pumps this, feeds it to all of these and that. And it does that throughout the day. And it is a non-stop automatic cycle. So far, the system is working really great. However, sometimes it's just not enough. Like today, this negative 16, very cold, and that's why I'm getting the only 30% relative humidity value. And I want to add another humidifier. I do have another ultrasonic. So now that we have switched to distilled water, we could definitely use ultrasonic. I think I have an old one in storage. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to show you how I connect it, and then we'll go from there. We're in luck. So I found a humidifier. It's fairly old. I mean, it does need some cleaning out and stuff. But yeah, I think this will do very nicely. So I have it cleaned out now. Well, for the most part, anyway. And let me just put everything back, and then I'm gonna attach it to over there, right? So let's do this. So I had to take off the pump, and I'm gonna show you how I installed this. So I made it drilled a hole here, and then this basically just screws on. So we're just gonna put it back. Okay. So I'm just gonna screw this a little bit so I can get enough to have it affixed in position. I'm just gonna leave that for a second. I do need to put this. This actually goes into the float valve connection, the inner connection. And then we do have to put this piece in here. This is part of the humidifier. And this is just a loose piece that goes in here. So let me just take a look at this. This is how it looks inside. This is the float valve. I don't know if you can see that. Uh, and I just need to adjust it. So the thing that you have to do is you have to make sure when it lifts up, it doesn't get caught. If I put it here, it can actually collide with this piece, and this will never rise, meaning it's just going to overflow and fail. So I do have to make sure, unless I want more issues in my life, which I don't. So I'm just going to do a final turn. Let me just position it on top. I'm going to actually position it right beside the other one there. The next step is just to split this so that it actually feeds both. I have a 3A splitter, so that's what I'm going to use. But first, let me just remove it from here. I have a valve here just so that I can shut off the line. I just shut it off, so let me just pull this out. And sometimes it can be stubborn. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use this extra tubing, attach. I'm going to add a retainer clip to this valve, shut off valve. Now I'm gonna cut it so that I can add that two-way splitter. So now I'm gonna add this two-way splitter. And let me add some more retainer rings to it as well. And then the other side, so this is what's gonna be feeding this and this. So I can basically just connect it to here now. So I'm gonna connect one to here, and I'll just let it, I'll just leave it here. So basically it's just gonna split from here, which is fine. It doesn't have to split uh, here before it goes to these two. It can split anywhere. So I'm just gonna attach this actual three-way right directly to the existing humidifier. Then I'm gonna cut it and make sure I'm gonna have to make room just in case I need to move this around. So I'm gonna cut about this much, even though right now, for the purposes of this video, I just need even a foot long, who knows, 2 feet. But this is more like a 3 or 4, right? So connect it to the other side. Add retainer ring. Connected to here. Now I'm going to add a retainer ring to this later. These retainer rings just prevent it from accidentally slipping out. But normally they stay in fine, I noticed, but I just use a retainer rings just in case. So even this, no retainer ring should work fine. But I'm going to leave it out purposely because this is new and I might need to move it or fix it. Actually, before I plug it in, I should just test if it's actually filling, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to see this valve. Remember I closed it. I'm going to open it up and we're going to see if it fills. All right, so look, it's filling, and it seems to be working perfectly. When this valve lifts up, I don't know if you can see it. See how it stops flowing? But when I release it, it lets the water flow again. All right, let's go plug it in and see if it actually works. All right, so I'm checking this now, and it looks like it's working. Okay, so it's on. It's spitting out nice ultrasonic humidification particles, water particles, and the valve works. It looks like it stopped. Yeah, see, I push it down, it goes on, and I release, it stops completely. So I'm happy with that. So that works. But I just noticed that now that we're adding a little bit more of the ultrasonic, what can happen, especially when it shoots straight up, it can settle. It can settle, and then the whole surface area in the top there will get saturated with water. I had an idea. What if we can solve that? So I actually found something that may work. Let me go get it. And maybe it's crazy, but maybe it will work. Let's try it out. Okay, so I found this. It's a box fan, and I actually taped a furnace filter to it. I'm thinking, why don't we suck the mist in here, the ultrasonic mist, let the fan pull it in, and then let this soak it up and let it evaporate. So, what am I doing? I'm making a faux evaporative humidifier from an ultrasonic humidifier. So I don't have to worry about all that mess or anything. So let's try that. I'm gonna go ahead and put this up. Okay. So I'm just gonna position right beside and I'm gonna plug it in. I guess the good thing too about this is that, especially when it's beside equipment like the MGI, that it could also maybe potentially clean up the environment from dust as well. Again, I use it as a particle filter, so it's acting like a particle filter as well. So it can actually double clean air, humidified air. So that's fine. I'm so excited about this. Okay, I'm just gonna turn it on, see if it works, and then I'm gonna bring the camera over here to show you. Oh wow. Okay. Cool. Okay, so it's actually working. Let me show you. Okay. So you'll see that mist, right? And it's blowing right into this furnace filter. Let's turn it off and see what happens. See that? It's just going straight up and it's just coming pretty much straight down, maybe towards the back. So yeah, let's turn this fan back on and see what happens. Oh, see that? Now it's being sucked in. If I wanted, I can elevate this thing too, but no, that's great. Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna work out. But then I had this other idea of like, well, I mean, how can you tell it's working? Wouldn't it be great if you had an indicator? I found this too. So this is just an LED light. I mean, it's nothing. It's a dollar store item, but it flashes cool lights. But I think it could be used to as an indicator to show when this is on and off. All right, so let's try it out. It's on. It's working. Lights on. It's going in. Yes, everything works. I'm just gonna manually turn off the switch. See, turned off. Everything's off. Wow. Awesome. And then when it goes on automatically, and there you have it, guys. Yes, I think this will work very nicely, actually. All right, so there you have it. I'm glad I just had this idea to do that. I mean, I think this is pretty cool, right? If you guys have any suggestions, tips, leave it in the comments below. I have to hear from all of you. And if there's any improvements or if anything I can help out, reach out to me, connect with me, follow me. I'm always here to help. Anyways, that's it for now. Eddie Davin here with Big Dogs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Big dogs! Rawr, rawr.